It's been a busy day for me. I substitute taught for a PE teacher today, so I was outside for most of the day, and I just feel like the sun has drained me a little bit. And then I just came from Jeremiah's baseball game. Wasn't quite over when I left, and so it's been a long day, but it's been a great day. Enjoyed it so much. We started off 2 weeks ago in chapter 6 of Proverbs. We got through verses 1 through 15, and I'd like to just recap that real quick if I could. First part of chapter 6 deals with being a security or a surety, if you will, for somebody and their obligations or their debts. And we talked about how that's not a good thing to do, to commit yourself to pay somebody else's bills, if you will. That causes heartache. We probably know, and we had a great discussion, I thought, about examples of how that's affected a lot of us in here. But I know that more families and friends have been caught up in anger, gotten mad because of situations like that. So you have to be really careful. Now, we're not saying that you don't help out your neighbor or your friend, but you have to ask yourself, one, can I afford it if he doesn't pay me back? I got to take care of my family first, and always make sure that you're not giving him something that he shouldn't be doing with the money. And that's where we really kind of came to, I think, all of us a conclusion on that. Then in verses 6 through 11, we talked about not being lazy, and we had great discussion about the ant of all creatures, how industrious it was. It did not have a master or somebody overseeing them all the time, but it just wanted to work. And how lucky an employer would be if he had a person who worked like that. And so there was a lot of good information there. And then verses 12 through 15 talked about being trustworthy. And we said here that a worthless person, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. And I like how it reads here. He winks with his eye. I can just picture that. He shuffles his feet. Somebody who lies to you is not trustworthy, most of the time never look you in the eye. I think we can all agree on that. They'll look down or they'll look around, but they won't look you in the eye. And so you have to be careful. But their comeuppance, I guess, will happen to them eventually. It says there, therefore, this is in verse 15, his calamity shall come suddenly. Suddenly he shall be broken without remedy. And that's where we ended a couple of weeks ago. Are there any questions about the first 15 verses that we just kind of recapped? Good. Okay, beginning in verse 16 through 19, this deals with, actually it's 7 things that God hates. It starts off by saying, these 6 things the Lord hates, and they're laid out here. And then it says, yes, 7 are an abomination to him. Let's read 16 through 19. New King James Version says, these 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. 1, a proud look. 2, a lying tongue. 3, hands that shed innocent blood. 4, a heart that devises wicked plans. 5, feet that are swift in running to evil. 6, a false witness who speaks lies. And then the 7th one, and one who sows discord among the brethren. What does it mean to have a proud look? Like you're better than something. That's probably the best way to describe it. I am better than you, or they think they are. Okay? Be arrogant. Have what we call haughty eyes. One's look, and I think if you think about this, it makes sense. One's look indicates the attitude of the heart. Would you agree with that statement? I think so. I think so. Can God use a proud heart? Turn with me over to Proverbs 16. chapter 16, verse 18 says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." God cannot use someone who has a proud heart. We need to remember that. Number 2, a lying tongue. All the translations that I read, New American Standard, NIV, Original King James, it all had that same exact wording. And I thought that was kind of unique. A lying tongue. You know, our world, shame to say, is wrapped up in dishonesty. All you got to do is turn on the news. I mean, a man's word, legal contracts, newspapers, and news stations often leave us wondering, is this all the truth? Have you ever asked yourself that? Or is this the truth at all? We don't know sometimes. God is against willful perverting of the truth and is very explicit in telling us what will happen. Turn with me, please, to Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21 and verse 8 says, "But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." God does not like lying. And we see it all the time. I mean, what's going on in our government today is sad. I'm just going to tell you, it's sad to watch. Any thoughts or comments about that? You almost can't watch it.
Yeah, you're talking about, you just want to know how much lying going on in our society. Just listen or watch or read the news.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't know whether the news is lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gotten so pervasive in all of our mediums of communication, everything. You never know.
Yeah. The news stations are not being honest, not reporting, I don't think. The newspapers are the same way. You know, it used to be that news stations and newspapers would investigate a story before they published it or said something about it on air. They just go with it because it brings in readers. Yes? Yeah? Yeah, I agree. Well, you go get an estimate for something to be done, and a lot of times it's nowhere close to that. Well, we had this and that happened and all that, you know. And that could be well true. I'm not saying that it's not, but they need to make sure that they at least inform you before they do the repairs or the work, you know, and give you the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to go someplace else, you know. It's... Well, I just almost hate turning on the news anymore. Anyway, any other thoughts? Okay. Number 3 was hands that shed innocent blood. Anger out of control as well as lack of regard for the value of human life has made murder a common occurrence. I believe it was the year 2017, and I think 2016 was similar. I just went on Google and said, how many murders were there in the United States in 2017? What do you think I came up with? Over 17,000 murders in the United States. Like 17,343 or something like that. Tom?
You ever watch First 48 Hours on television? These kids, they'll go out and start investigating. Get these kids that they catch them on camera doing the crime, and they'll sit there and lie to the policeman to their face. Say, oh, I was at home in bed. And it has them right there on camera.
Yeah.
They'll keep to their story, and then they'll say, oh, I wanted an attorney.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's gotten. They don't know the truth if you hit them in the face.
That's exactly right. Chuck? No, it doesn't. Yeah. Well, just look at what they're doing in some states with the abortion laws.
You said 70,000. That includes abortion, killing babies.
I don't. That does.
Doesn't include that.
No, that doesn't include that. I mean, these are people who are older. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's totally sick. Yep. But we don't value human life anymore. Yes. Chopping. Yeah. It is. I mean, everything changed from 9/11. When you think about it, everything changed, and you can't be too careful. I mean, look at churches and other religious organizations that are being attacked. Again, no value to human life. Remember the Vegas shootings, what, a year and a half ago? All those people. Yes. I know. I know exactly what you mean. And I mean, that's the sign of the times. It's sad, but that's what, yes.
Very smart men influence people and kill thousands or kill hundreds. Jim Jones.
Jimmy Jones.
This was before 9/11.
The Guyana punch.
Yeah. It had no value of life at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they twisted their minds and stuff with false stuff. Yes, Jared Lee. Yeah. Can't even fathom it. I mean, even begin. Yeah. 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 Survival of the fittest. Yeah. Bo? Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I mean, there was something on the news this morning, I can't remember which state just signed it into law about a detectable heartbeat. Was it Georgia? Yeah. And once that detectable heartbeat is 6 weeks. Something like that, yeah. That's a step in the right direction, but it's even wrong before that. I mean, look how many people are on death row. Jason preached on that a while back. We don't hardly execute anybody for capital crimes. So there's really no deterrent in my estimation. You know? I don't know. Yes. We've taken the Bible out of everything. School, you know. Well, not quick enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest, I think, contributors to the downfall of, I'm going to say, society in general, is the breakdown of the family.
One encouraging note, you talked about just a few Williams Middle School in Tracy.
Yeah.
Their kids obey the rules, and they don't do any steps.
Yeah. That was absolutely, I still think about that place. Unbelievable. Policy is no cell phones. I didn't see one cell phone out. Amazing. But if you give them structure, if you give them discipline, if you tell them what you expect of them and hold them accountable, that's the big thing. Yeah. Do you? It's great. I go back there in a heartbeat to a sub. But I don't know, it's, yeah. Great. Good comments. Any other?
Too many parents have had babies that they don't really shouldn't have.
Oh, yeah.
They're not capable of raising kids.
Yeah, was it in here that someone discussed, somebody on welfare or something like that went to go get some help, and the welfare lady said something about, you don't qualify, you need to go have another kid? Was that mentioned in here? Yeah. Connie, yeah. Just goes, you got to be kidding me. What's up? Yeah, absolutely. Good comments. Any other thoughts on about murder? God hates violence, and he will avenge every murder. Revelation 21, what we just read in 8, says that. Okay, number 4. A heart that devises wicked imaginations. What are we talking about here? A heart that devises wicked imaginations. Thinking of evil plans, premeditated comes to mind. Yes. Purposed and willful wrong is from a heart rebellious to God. Tom.
Again, you can go back to the television. How many movies now is coming out with ways of how to murder people and how to kill people and dreaming about stuff like that. And they're making movies about it and investing all the kids with all these ideas.
Yeah. Well, they just had another, going back to the murder thing, they just had another shooting at a Colorado school not too far from Columbine. One dead and I think 8 injured. And I haven't heard an update, and I don't know any of the details, but it's sad. Yeah, one was a female, under the age of 18. What gets into their minds? The devil does. Yeah. The devil and all the influence of TV and stuff like that. Yes, John. Yeah. It's shameful where some of that has gone. Mary. Yeah. 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 Hmm? Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, nothing is new. I mean, it's been going on. I'd like to think it was not as prevalent back then that it is now. It seems like it's just a common occurrence all the time today. Yes.
Didn't have the news
No.
on television, internet, Jason just mentioned. I think they're showing these people on television how they can commit a crime, how they get by with it. They show the gas pump. Did you see that one on the gas pump?
Mm-mm.
Well, they take the gas pump, there's a gas pump on both sides like a coffin. They wrap there, they take it out of that side, wrap it around, and put it in there. That person, and they put theirs around in there, and he goes to put it in his tank, he put the gas in the opposite car. They show them how.
Yeah. Well, hey, you can get plans on building a bomb off the internet. Jim and then Mo.
This was bad enough back in the days of Solomon
Mm-hmm.
for him to write this
Yeah.
by inspiration, number one. So this is not a new problem.
Right.
They may not have had the technology we do, but it was still a problem. Look what Absalom did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And number two, there's a movie that I've seen that's a comedy. You understand? This is a comedy. 1,000 Ways to Kill a Person in the West. And that's what they want us to think. And it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah. Sad. I know. Mo, was it? Or... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's my right to choose. Chuck.
Social media life that we have now, people do things like that just to be famous.
To get attention.
Yeah, they're just looking for ways to get attention, be famous, for everybody to know who they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to give them 2 or 3 days worth of fame on national TV. Yes. Oh, I think it is. The number of what we call latchkey kids has probably 50 times more than what it was a few years back. The sad part is sometimes it does take 2 incomes, and I'm going to give an example with Trish and I when Jason was born. She was on maternity leave for I think 6 weeks and went back to work, but we found a church-ran daycare. It was a Lutheran church, but we had heard good things about it, and they would take infants, and that first day dropping him off just tore Patricia apart. But anyway, we made sure he was taken care of, and that's what kids don't have today, anybody to make sure they're taken care of. Yes, Janet. Absolutely. The biggest thing I can remember is when I was a kid, I'll get to you, Jason, in a second, there was no sports played on Sunday. None. No baseball, no soccer, no nothing. That was the day, as Janet, you went to church. Jason. I was trying to spin it in a good way.
But it was like, we got here late. When I was talking to the other coach, and if we have to work full time, both sets of parents, it's about investing the time that you do have with your kids. You can't get home from a stressful job and make excuses, and then it's Miller time for the next 3.5 hours. You got to spend time with your kids.
Yeah.
And me and the coach were talking. We got kids that can't even play catch. How do you solve that? Well, dads or moms or whoever, get out there and play 10 minutes of catch 3 times a week. Investing
Time. Yeah. Good. That's really a good point because I don't think we see that. Yes, Antoinette. Yeah. 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 And we're seeing it. Jim.
I agree exactly what Jason said. I coach Little League all. They're up to the big leagues. And I would never have the parents talk the crowd cheering their kid on. They would bring them out there for the coaches to discipline and babysit. And if their kid didn't get to play every single evening, you heard it.
Oh yeah. I knew what you meant.
And I've done that for years, either that or umpired for 20, 30 years. It's the parents are not getting involved. And when the children do go, let them out.
Schools are the place that people are saying, "Oh, you need to raise my kid," and that's so wrong. Yes, David.
I forget who said it, but some famous person said most people lead lives of quiet desperation. And when I used to work for the sheriff's office, I'd talk to a lot of gang members and talk to a lot of people that were like in the car club, the hydraulic cars that jump up and down, and I asked them, well, why do you do this? And they said, so people will look at me.
Attention.
That's the only, that in their pathetic lives, that's the only thing they have going is so people will look at them and give them some recognition. And that's what happens when people quit going to church, people quit believing in God, they have nothing to live for except somebody to look at them, just give them a little attention.
I think that's probably 90% of the discipline problems in school because kids want attention, and they do stupid things to get it. So, yes. Yeah. No. He's not addicted at all. It's like the mushroom issue in Colorado, hallucinant mushrooms. We're going exactly 180 degrees opposite of where we should be going. That's true. Great comments. Mary. Yes. But we got to remember here that we talked about this heart that devises wicked imagination. This attitude of heart develops when one has no regard for anything else except that which might work to that person's advantage. What can I get out of it? That's what they ask themselves. What's in it for me? Any other thoughts or comments before we move on? Okay, number 5. Feet that are swift in running to evil or mischief. What's this describe? Isn't it? Say again? They got to try it. They think they can get away with it. Okay, they think This describes a person who will commit wrong whenever he thinks he can get away with it or can get something for nothing. You know, something for nothing. By their eagerness to do wrong, one robs himself of peace. That peace we have with God. Turn with me over to Isaiah chapter 59. Verses 7 and 8. Ties right in with what we just said about the feet that are swift running to evil. Verse 7 begins, it says, their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. Verse 8, the way of peace they have not known, and there is no justice in their ways. They have made themselves crooked paths. Whoever takes this way shall not know peace. They're headed down the wrong path. Down the wrong path. We need to develop that attitude that is eager to do good, that desires to do good. What it says in 1 Thessalonians 5, 21 through 22. Any comments on that? Okay? Number 6, a false witness that speaks lies. Perjury injures the innocent while it protects the guilty, doesn't it? We have an example of that in Exodus 20 and 16. I don't know how many of you watched the show, it's called Bull with Michael Weatherby, who was on it. Yeah, we watch it at home. And just that last week, I think it was, there was an episode about two brothers. And one brother was in medical school trying to do good. He belonged to a crime gang family. Their father was big, up in that, was in jail. And he was going to be sentenced for a long time. And he convinced his older son, the bad son, to slice the throat of the judge. And long story short, he did. Judge died. He jumped in the car. His brother had found out about it and drove down there to try to stop him. Don't do it. Anyway, brother jumped in after the deed was done with a gun pointed at his brother and says, drive. Well, they got caught. Both of them got charged with the crime. And they were both being tried together. And halfway through the show, the brother decides he's going to lie and put all the blame on the his good brother. I mean, we see that. People will perjure themselves to try to get away with it. It's a shame. Anybody have any stories that they can share that maybe has something along that line? Know of any? Nobody's ever been lied to?
In the courts today, if you got money, you can prove wrong is right.
Pretty much.
Been done so many
Yeah.
murders and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame to see this happen so much. People will lie. Eventually, they're going to get caught. Okay, they will. And if they don't get caught, God's going to get them. Yeah. Buying their way, paying for. Yeah, that's. The news says that, and people think that the people who were involved in that are actually going to get some jail time, because it's one of those things. If you just pay a hefty fine, it's just like giving money to the college. You're out money, but so what? They got money, so they need to pay with something they really value, and that's their freedom. Matt, did you have a question? Hallmark? Yeah. Well, they fired her from that, and the new season just started. I don't know this. Patricia does. Trust me. I was hoping Ben would be here today because I wanted to tell him a thumbs up on those soap operas when he was watching. When I was in flight school, I'd come back from the old dark 30 hop and at about noon, and all was on was ABC, NBC, CBS. So as the stomach turns, I knew all about that one. Guiding all my children, yeah, I was right in there with him. But the new season started, and Patricia pointed this out to me. It started with episode 4, is the first one that was shown on TV. We figured that she was in episode 1, 2, and 3, and because they fired her, they're not showing it.
Also not showing any more of her movies.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that Lori Loughlin was the only.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's Felicity Huffman, yeah, and a lot of professors and doctors and stuff like that, attorneys.
The problem today is that there's too many people that are in positions of power that are colluding together to lie.
Yeah.
And when that happens, in our Congress is a great example right there. They know they're lying. They know they're not telling the truth. But it doesn't matter to them because all the ones that are affiliated with them, call it a party or whatever you want to call it, but they're all in it together and they're doing it to protect each other.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say whatever you want to say because you got enough buddies around you that'll join you in it, and they're not going to do anything about it anyway.
Yeah. What's that old saying? If you throw enough mud against the wall, some of it will stick. And that's what they're trying to do. They're just throwing so much mud in the air. Jim, 1 second. John? Yeah. What I have read is she is sweating bullets because she's going to jail. Yeah, she's going to jail.
Going to jail because she didn't admit that she did like the rest of them.
Right. Well, even the ones that admitted, I heard, are going to get some jail time because it's still one of those things. You got to punish with them. With some,
Hammered because she wouldn't.
yeah, she wouldn't
Felicity
own
Huffman,
up.
she admitted that she did it, and so she worked the deal out.
Yeah,
When you deny something that you've done that they've got the goods on you, you're
digging a deeper hole. Yeah, yeah. Jim?
It's kind of like having a giant 10-wheel at a casino. Thousands of people have been doing this for years. And now all of a sudden we want to make an example of that. Somebody somewhere spun it and it's landed on these people. Did they do wrong? Of course. They know they did wrong.
Right.
But they're using them as scapegoats for the thousands of people that got away with it already.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning any of it,
Sure.
never. But they're the ones taking the blame.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom?
I was watching a live TV police show where the police officer pulled this guy over, and he said, "There's nothing in the car." The cop goes over there and finds a bag of dope, and he says, "You planted it there. You planted it on him." And so the cops, no idea.
Yeah.
No, and so I want an attorney. So that's the way it always goes. They're always trying to blame somebody else for planting stuff on them.
Well, look how far we've gone. I mean, we have dash cams now on the police cars. We have body cameras on them, just to protect that from things like that happening. It's a shame you got to do that, but that's what's come down to. Yes, got a couple of them.
What we're talking about is the most egregious cases.
Right.
There's a lot of much less egregious cases also. And what we got to make sure is that we're not part of the problem.
Yeah.
And we got to remember that all these things we've talked about, everything that's going wrong in our society, unless the church stands strong for the truth and for purity against evil, then and only then will we all go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
The point being is that God has us here within this evil, you call it evil state if you want to, do whatever you want to. But I believe, and I think I'm not alone, he expects the church to stand strong in the truth no matter what the consequences are physically.
Yep.
Because ultimately, yeah, he's in control, but he's allowing mankind to act out their
Free will.
Because that's the way
We're made.
business.
Yeah.
That's part of being the human race. And the thing we have to remember is that those that don't know the truth need to be sort of put in their place, or they need to be told that they're out of place when we hear them doing it. And I was visiting my brother-in-law today, who was broken his leg. All you golfers, by having his leg hanging out the golf cart. The golf cart tipped over and broke his leg. But
Might improve my game.
we were reminiscing a little bit, and he was the husband of my older sister, who died at a very young age. But then he lost a son, and he was sitting there today, and he was talking about when he heard about his son, and it was an adult son. But he said he prayed to God. He says, "God, just take me instead." And then he made the statement, "I don't know why God does those things the way he does them." I said, "Jim, it's not God that's doing it." He says, "It's not?" And I said, "No, it's not." He said, "Well, then, I said, "It's all the evil in the world, God doesn't pick out people and say, I'm going to take your son away from you, or whatever." And so there's a lot of people that feel that way, that that's just the way it is, and that if God's in control,
God's to blame.
orchestrating all of this.
Right.
God's not orchestrating all this.
No, he's not.
It's evil orchestrating all of this.
Yeah.
And we got to make sure that folks understand that it's not God responsible for this, but it's mankind succumbing to forces.
Yeah, what's that saying? If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Jenny? Yeah, yeah. Jason, you had a comment earlier?
Mine was kind of along the same lines as Wayne, but even a couple weeks ago when we were talking about people using social, welfare type systems, social systems, they don't know any better. They have to be taught the gospel. And when we come together, yes, we'll highlight the good and the bad of the various things, but we encourage and we evangelize based on the message.
Absolutely.
They live life to us as if God's law doesn't apply to them. Because it doesn't, in a sense, in their mind. Their actions, their attitudes, it doesn't reflect what God desires and God wants. But again, they're not going to fix themselves by simply saying, "Oh, you should do this, this, or this." You got to teach them Jesus. There's a movie out there called The Time Changer. It's pretty good. It was made in the late 90s, early mid-2000s. You can't teach people morality. You can't teach people to be good without teaching them Jesus.
Amen. Yeah. Our time is just about up. I know we got one more. Let me do this. Number 7 here is sowing discord among the brethren. I want you to think about that this week, and we're going to pick up with that when we. And please, if it's real quick, people are out there waiting. It's okay? Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, great class. I love the discussion. Thank you. Come on in.